The morning of day 4 began differently. The air was colder, the desert quieter, and inside us, the anticipation grew. We had spent 2 nights in the wilderness, cooking by firelight, sleeping beneath a million stars, but now the horizon promised something greater. Today, we would cross into the Northern Territory. Today, the desert would finally reveal Uluru. We started early, packing our camp quickly. The road stretched ahead, corrugated, endless, yet strangely welcoming. After hours of driving, we reached a sign that every traveler on this road stops for, the Northern Territory border sign. Faded by sun and dust, it stood like a silent gatekeeper between 2 vast landscapes. We pulled over, stretched our legs, and took photographs. In that moment, it wasn't just about crossing a line on a map. It was a milestone. We were now entering the land that holds Australia's spiritual heart. The desert life showed itself too. Along the roadside, we spotted wild camels wandering across the red earth, reminders of another chapter of history. Animals brought here over a century ago that now roam freely, like spirits of the desert. Then came our last fuel stop at Warakurna Roadhouse, situated roughly 331 kilometers from Yulara, making it the final opportunity to refuel before Uluru. We took the chance to fill our tanks, check tire pressure, and mentally prepare for the final stretch. Driving eastward, a distant cluster of domes rose on the horizon. In excitement, we guessed Uluru, but as we came closer, we realized it was Kata Tjuta, the Olgas, not the monolith we sought. That moment reminded us how easily the desert can deceive the eye. Hours later, as evening fell, the real Uluru revealed itself. First a shadow, then a silhouette, and finally a golden giant glowing under the sunset light. We watched in silence, moving slowly. No photo or video capture could match the awe we felt. By around 6 p.m., still before dark, we entered the Yulara Ayers Rock Resort campground. For $110 per car per night, we secured a simple spot, parking space, access to a shower, toilet, and water. After rough bush camping, it felt like luxury. We also learned there are strict alcohol restrictions in Yulara. Permits are required, rules that support Aṉangu land guardianship and cultural respect, and that we accepted without question. That evening, as night fell over the resort and the desert beyond, we sensed that tomorrow would shape our entire journey, the day we would finally stand before Uluru itself. So, after dinner, we quietly packed things away, stretched out in our beds, and went to sleep early, resting, preparing in our hearts for the first true encounter with Uluru. Day 5 began early at the Ayers Rock Resort campground. We packed up, made a simple breakfast, and set out with anticipation. This was the day we had driven so far to reach, the day of our true encounter with Uluru. Within minutes, we reached the entry checkpost of Uluru Kata Tjuta National Park. Every vehicle must stop here. We presented our park permits, $38 per person, valid for 3 days. This pass is more than a ticket. It supports the protection of the park and the Aṉangu people, the traditional custodians of this land. With our permits checked, the gates opened. Our first destination was the cultural center. Here, the Aṉangu share their stories, their art, and their law, Chukurpa, the dreaming. Inside, we learned why Uluru is sacred, why some areas are closed, and why climbing the rock is forbidden. Photography is not allowed inside, and that silence itself felt like respect, a reminder that some knowledge must be received, not recorded. Only after this grounding did we drive on toward Uluru, and then it appeared, immense, red, and commanding. Our footage shows Uluru filling the windshield as we drove directly beneath its cliffs, the rock so close it seemed to tower over our car. No image had ever felt this alive. Later, we began the 10-kilometer base walk. For nearly 4 hours, we circled Uluru, stopping at waterholes, caves, and ancient rock art. Some places were marked "No Entry" or "No Photography." We honored those signs. This was not about capturing everything. It was about walking with reverence. For the Aṉangu custodians, Uluru is a living storybook. Every crack, every cave, every curve holds the tale of creation beings who shaped the world. These are not myths, they are sacred law, guiding daily life even today. Since 2019, Climbing Uluru has been permanently closed. As we walked, we understood. To walk around Uluru is already a prayer. But Uluru's sacredness reaches far beyond Australia. In 2004, Kyabje Bairo Rinpoche declared Uluru the heart of the earth, recognizing it as a spiritual power place connected to the life energy of the whole world. Not long after, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama acknowledged Uluru's importance, affirming that this land is alive with spirit, worthy of the highest respect. Later, great masters from Bhutan and Tibet also made pilgrimage here. Among them was Dzongtsar Jamyang Khyentse Rinpoche, the celebrated Rimé master whose prayers at Uluru reflected his vision of non-sectarian unity, that sacredness transcends lineage, tradition, and geography. Then came His Eminence Namkha Ningpo Rinpoche, whose rituals at Uluru were blessed by the sudden appearance of a rainbow, a sign in Buddhism of divine protection, blessings, and the union of heaven and earth. And His Holiness, the Gyalwa Dokhampa Rinpoche, beloved in Bhutan, described Uluru as nothing less than Zangdopelri, the copper-colored mountain, the celestial pure land of Guru Rinpoche himself. In Buddhist cosmology, Zangdopelri is the enlightened realm where Guru Rinpoche resides eternally, surrounded by deities, dakinis, and protectors. For Bhutanese practitioners, to see Uluru is to see Zangdopelri on earth, a living mandala rising from the desert. Others too, the 9th Kamtrul Rinpoche, Neifug Trulku Rinpoche, and many lamas have offered prayers here, leaving their aspirations in the desert wind. Among Bhutanese Buddhists, it is believed that Uluru holds sacred imprints. The footprint of Guru Rinpoche pressed into stone, the form of Ganesh, natural mandala patterns shaped by wind and rain. These are not accidents of erosion. They are signs that great beings leave traces wherever the earth has become holy. As we walked the base of Uluru, prayer beads turning in our hands, we felt connected not only to the Aṉangu dreaming, but also to those masters before us. It was as if our mantras joined an unbroken chorus of devotion already circling this sacred rock.
How's the Josh? Good, enjoying?
Enjoying Kata, one leg, chas.
Good, good. How's the Josh? Josh가?
By evening, we paused at a quiet spot. On the roof of our car, with Uluru glowing behind us, we offered cho and serkim, ritual offerings of water and golden drink. We did so humbly, without disrupting the Aṉangu traditions. For us, it was a way of honoring Uluru as we would honor a temple, a stupa, or a mountain shrine. At sunset, Uluru burned golden in the fading light. To the Aṉangu, this was the presence of their creation ancestors. To us, it was as though Guru Rinpoche himself was reminding us, the sacred is not bound by borders. It lives wherever the earth is pure and alive. That night, back at our campground, we cooked a simple dinner and ate in silence, reflecting on the weight of the day. We went to bed early, knowing that tomorrow, before sunrise, we would return one last time to offer our farewell prayers.
Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakya Muni Eswaha Om.
Day 6 began in silence, long before dawn. We left our beds in the dark, the desert still cold, and drove back toward Uluru. Ahead of us, the horizon glowed faintly, a promise of sunrise. That morning carried a special meaning. According to the Bhutanese lunar calendar, it was the 10th day of the month, a day dedicated to Guru Rinpoche, the lotus-born master who brought Buddhism to Bhutan and Tibet. In our tradition, this day is always sacred. To stand before Uluru on such a day was not coincidence. It felt like destiny. We parked among others waiting for the dawn, but for us this was not just sightseeing. As the first light struck Uluru, turning its walls from deep purple to fiery red, we joined our hands and prayed. Mantras rose with the desert wind, carrying our devotion across the land. It was our final offering, a farewell prayer to this great spirit of stone. Uluru at sunrise is different from Uluru at sunset. The golden glow of evening is majestic, but the first light of morning is intimate, like watching a deity awaken. In that moment, Uluru was not only a rock, it was a teacher, reminding us of impermanence, presence, and reverence. With heavy hearts, we began our departure. Driving away, we turned our eyes one last time toward the great monolith. Behind us it receded, but inside us it remained. Not far from the road, another sacred site rose into view, Kata Tjuta, the Olgas. The day before, we had mistaken its distant silhouette for Uluru. Now, we saw it clearly. 36 domes of red stone rising from the desert floor. Though we did not walk its trails, just witnessing Kata Tjuta completed the circle of our pilgrimage. Standing before Kata Tjuta, we felt the circle of our journey complete. In Bhutanese Buddhist tradition, a pilgrimage does not end with prayers alone. It ends with an offering of body, speech, and mind. There, in the red desert before the domes of Kata Tjuta, two of our friends stepped forward. They danced a simple Luye Chopa, the offering of body and speech. Their movements were not rehearsed, nor was the dance ceremonial in form, but it was sincere. Each step, each gesture was an offering of body, of voice, of spirit. We watched quietly, feeling that this was more than just a dance. It was our collective prayer expressed in movement, a way of giving back after receiving so much. For us, this was the true conclusion of the pilgrimage. After this sacred moment, our journey turned toward the long road home. We passed Warakurna, our last familiar fuel stop, and pushed onward across the central road. As evening approached, we set up camp between Warakurna and Chukayirla. This was bush camping once again, back to the wild, under the stars, far from towns or lights. That night, our hearts were quieter. The pilgrimage was complete, but the road was still long. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and even a test of resilience we did not expect. Day 7 began like any other, until the desert tested us again. On the long stretch of the central road, we heard it, a sharp bang followed by the wobble of the Hilux. One of our tires had blown out. The dust rose around us as we pulled over. No phone signal, no nearby help, just the red desert and silence. With the sun already heating the road, we rolled up our sleeves. Together, we worked, loosening bolts, lifting the heavy tire, replacing it with the spare. It was hard, dusty work, but the Hilux was back on its feet. Not long after, the mood shifted completely. We stopped again, this time to prepare what became our best lunch of the entire trip. In the wide openness of the desert, we cooked slowly, took pictures, laughed, and savored the view. After the struggle of the morning, that meal felt like a blessing, a reminder of why journeys like this matter. As we continued later in the day, the desert gave us another warning. Cows appeared suddenly on the track ahead, and we nearly collided. It reminded us how dangerous it is to drive after dark in the outback. But despite our caution, by the time we pushed through, night had already fallen. Finally, we reached a bush camp between Leonora and Kalgoorlie. It was fully dark, the headlights guiding us in. That night, we decided to make it special. Our last BBQ under the stars. With the fire glowing, the smell of food on the grill, and the quiet laughter of friends. The hardships of the day melted away. Day 7 had it all: danger, struggle, joy, and celebration. It was the closing chapter of the wild desert road, and tomorrow, the journey would take us home. Day 8, the final stretch. We woke with a mix of relief and nostalgia. The desert dust was still on our clothes, the Hilux carried the marks of thousands of kilometers, and our hearts carried memories that would last forever. But before reaching Perth, we stopped for one last meaningful lunch together at a beautiful picnic spot. Sitting by the view within front of us, we shared not just food, but conversation, talking about the highs and lows, the challenges and laughter, and the quiet spiritual moments that defined the trip. It wasn't just a meal, it was a closing ritual, a way of honoring everything we had experienced. By evening, the Hilux rolled back into Perth, dusty, worn, but faithful, just like us. We returned the vehicle, and with that, the physical road came to an end. But the real journey was within. Uluru had shown us resilience, silence, and spirit. For the Aṉangu people, it remains a living law, a sacred story. For us as Bhutanese Buddhists, it echoed the blessings of great masters, who all honored this place as holy. We too offered our prayers, our chants, even our simple dances, not as tourists, but as pilgrims. We saw in Uluru not only stone, but a mandala, a teacher, and a mirror of faith. This road trip was never just about reaching a destination. It was about testing our strength, deepening our friendship, and awakening our hearts. To the custodians of this land, to the masters who blessed it, to our friends who shared the struggle, and to you, the viewers, thank you. May this story inspire you to seek not only new landscapes, but new depths within yourself. Because every road, if walked with awareness, leads to the spirit.